up, everyone? Tera Roberts here with your DFS Bargains for Week 13. Before we get started, be sure to like this video and subscribe to Fantasy Alarm. Now let's go ahead and dive right in. At quarterback, Taylor Heinicke is a low-salary player with high upside this week. Washington plays the Raiders, who gave up a huge game to Dak Prescott last week. Prescott completed 32 of 47 passes for 375 yards and 2 touchdowns. On the other side, Washington's defense has been improving, but Derek Carr literally leads the NFL in total pass yards. So we are talking a matchup for Taylor Heinicke with a team who loves to throw the ball a ton and who often gives up a ton. So it's a perfect matchup for a potential high-scoring game here. Last week was not exactly a beautiful performance from Heinicke, going 27 of 35 for 223 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Not fantastic from a fantasy perspective with only 3 yards on the ground, but I expect a great turnaround this week. Now let's talk about the running backs. At the time of the filming of this video, we don't know exactly the extent of Miles Sanders' injury, and I'm not sure that we'll really get a definitive answer until Sunday. Jordan Howard is also dealing with an injury, so there's a good possibility that Sunday's game features Boston Scott as the lead back. The Eagles face the Jets, who have given up some big games to running backs, so Boston Scott could have significant upside at a very reasonable price. Jamaal Williams is a little bit higher priced than Boston Scott, but I still consider him a great value play, especially on Yahoo, where he is priced literally $1 above Nyheim Hines and Trey Sermon. So yes, definitely a bargain. DeAndre Swift will likely be out this week, and last week after Swift went down, Williams had 15 carries for 65 yards and caught all 5 of his targets for 18 yards. We've seen enough of Jamaal Williams here and in Green Bay, stepping in when injuries happen to be productive both on the ground and through the air. And Detroit faces a Minnesota defense that just gave up 27 carries, 133 yards, and 1 touchdown with 5 of 6 receptions for 35 yards to Elijah Mitchell. Heading over to wide receivers, and I've got 3 for you. We talked about the opportunity for Taylor Heinicke, and one of those players that could benefit from a big game from him is DeAndre Carter. Carter has been coming on strong over the past 4 games. Over those 4 games, he's had 20 targets and 12 receptions. Modest numbers, but in 3 of those 4 games, he's had a touchdown. And he's not just cheap. He is cheap. And if there's an opportunity for those targets to sneak up a little bit, it's this game right here. Another super cheap option is Jauan Jennings. Deebo Samuel is out, and Jennings will step up as the wide receiver 2 behind Brandon Ayuk. In limited action last week, Jennings caught 2 of his 3 targets with 1 touchdown on just 37% of snaps. The 49ers are facing Seattle, and I had to go all the way back to September to find a game where Seattle's opposing quarterback threw for less than 35 attempts. The opportunity will be there for Jennings to pay off at his very low price. And the last option at receiver is Rashod Bateman. Bateman's production over the past couple of weeks hasn't exactly been something to write home about, but to be fair, one of those games was without Lamar Jackson, but this matchup right here against Pittsburgh is ripe for the picking. Teams have been throwing all over Pittsburgh to the point where even Mike Williams, who had seen several weeks of terrible performances, had a fantastic game against them. I expect a big performance from the Ravens receiving core and perhaps a career day for the rookie. And at tight end, let's go with one. Usually when a tight end goes down with an injury, his backup is primarily a blocker and nothing to really depend on from a fantasy perspective. But this is one of those rare occasions where a backup can be productive. When Foster Moreau stepped in for Darren Waller in Week 7, he caught 6 of his 6 targets for 60 yards and 1 touchdown, playing 100% of snaps. The tight end position is just so critical to the Raiders' offense that when Waller goes down, the show must go on, and Moreau has the talent to step in and be productive in his place. And that wraps things up for this week's DFS Bargains. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to Fantasy Alarm, and come back next week for another round of DFS Bargains.